Today I'm going to talk about the average wage and how the wage more generally is derived. So we start with the profit function of a firm. The profit is derived by the output times the price of the output minus the cost, which would be the amount of low-skilled workers times the low wage minus the amount of high-skilled workers times the high wage. So to maximize profit, we have to derive the profit function with respect to the amount of low-skilled workers and after that with the amount of high-skilled workers. So to start here, derivative of profit function with respect to L. So what we see already here, we have a L in the profit function times wage low, so we have minus wage low if we derive with respect to L. But what we also have to take into account is this Y, because inside this Y, what we can see here, that's the CS production function, we have also our L. So we have to derive this Y with respect to L. Times P R. I give this P a little index so that you're not confused with the P in the CS production function, which actually is not a P, but I think it's called Rho. It's a Greek letter, but yeah, it looks like a P. So every time you see this PR, it's the price of the output. And of course, we maximize it so it's equal to 0. So we get that the wage low equals to the derivative of Y with respect to L times the price. And of course, it's the same for wage high. Wage high is equal to the price, but this time of course it's the partial derivative of Y with respect to H. Normally we would assume that the price is equal to 1. So then we would end up at the expression the wage low is equal to the derivative of Y with respect to L, which we normally use and which I also used in the last session. But yeah, this is the more general term with the variable price included. So to get now to the average wage, average, that's the amount of low-skilled workers times the low wage plus the amount of high-skilled workers times the high wage. And everything is divided by H plus L, that's the whole workforce. So what we have to do now is plugging in for this wage low and this wage high these two expressions, wage low here and wage high here. And yeah, what I already did the last session, I showed what the partial derivative of Y with respect to L looks like. This is this function here. So I already prepared it. So we see that the average wage equals to L times PR. The L is this L here. The PR is because here we have low wage equals to PR, so it's the PR here, times the derivative of y with respect to L, and this is the term here, and that is written down here. Of course, as I normally do, I'm not gonna write out the brackets. And again, with H, it's the same. The H here, wage high, price times, and the partial derivative of y with respect to H. So, and of course everything divided by the whole workforce, H plus L. So, how can we make this a bit easier? First of all, we can combine this H and this H to the power of P minus 1, and also the L and the L to the power of P minus 1. What this will look like, we could also assume that this is like an L to the power of 1 and an H to the power of 1. So if we multiply this, they have the same base, they have here both an L, so we add up the exponent, so it's P minus 1 plus 1, so we get a L to the power of P, and the same for H, it's H to the power of P minus 1 plus 1, so it's H to the power of P. So already said, we have then here price times A L P times L to the power of P, that's what I just explained, times the bracket to the power of 1 divided by P minus 1 plus again the price times A H P times H to the power of P times the bracket to the power of 1 divided by P minus 1, and of course everything divided by H plus L. So what we see now is that this PR and this bracket to the power of 1 divided by P minus 1 and this PR times the bracket is contained in both terms here, so we can factor these two out. So PR times L, no, there's no L here, I'm sorry, times the bracket to the power of 1 divided by P minus 1 times P, oh no, that's no P, I'm sorry, we factor it out, so there's no P here. What we have is A L to the power of P times L P plus A H P times H to the power of P. So, and now what we can see is that actually this term here inside the bracket, ALP times LP plus AHP times HP, is the same as here inside the bracket, what I always mark at these dots. So also here in this bracket stays the same. It's also AL to the power of P times LP plus AH to the power of P times H to the power of P. So again, this can be written as the power of 1. Oh, and not to forget, of course, everything is divided by H plus L. So what do we actually now have? That PR, and I'm now gonna write out the bracket, times A L P times L P times plus A H to the power of P times H P to the power of 1 divided by P. So again, here they're the same base, so it's if we multiply it, the exponent gonna add up, so we have 1 divided by P minus 1 plus 1, so we only have this 1 divided by P here. And yes, not to forget, everything is divided by H to the power of L. H plus L, I'm sorry. So, and what we can also see here is that this whole term is actually the same as our y. So PR times y divided by H plus L is actually our average wage.